Greetings! This is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this is BSJ Episode 2, Increases for Sleeves and Working Sleeves and Upper Back. This is the second of several videos in a special series on Elizabeth Zimmerman's Baby Suprise jacket. I'm making these videos for my students in a class that I'm teaching at a local yarn store. This video will cover how to do increases for the sleeves and how to continue working the sleeves and the upper back. I'd like to mention that I am working with a bulky yarn with large needles for this demonstration. The number of stitches that I'm working on will vary from yours because my gauge is very different. So this is what the Baby Suprise jacket looks like when it's finished before it's sewn together. And so far, in the first video, which you can check out, I will have a link to my playlist in the description of this video, and you can find that first video in the series. In that video, you cast on and you started to work the sleeves and the upper back. So you worked along here, along the cuff, along the back, and then along this cuff. And you will have worked a certain number of rows here, and then you are going to increase to make these sleeves just a little puffier. And you are only going to be increasing along this section before the first marker and after the second marker to fluff up these sleeves, but the back you will work normally. So right now we're going to launch into how to do those increases for the sleeves, and then what we're going to do to continue the sleeves and the back. So here's my demonstration yarn, and I have finished working my rows for the cuff, and I am ready to start the section where I'm going to increase for the sleeves. And those increases are going to take place here before my first marked stitch and here after my last marked stitch. So my instructions for my size and my yarn, which are going to vary from yours, says knit 1, make 1 6 times, then knit 4. Then do a decrease, knit 28, then do a decrease, then knit 4, and make 1, knit 1 6 times. You'll notice too that those instructions are symmetrical. So we're going to start the row, and this is a right side row. You can see my marker is here, my special marker, and I talk about placing that in the first video. And I am going to go ahead and knit 1, make 1 6 times. So the make 1 I am going to use is also called a make M1L, or a make 1 left. And so it says knit 1, make 1 6 times. So I'm going to knit 1, and then to do a make 1, I am going to take my left hand needle. I am going to actually get closer for you here so you can really see how I'm doing this. I'm going to take my left needle, and do you see how there's a strand between the first stitch on the right needle and there's a strand here? See that strand? And then the stitch on my left needle. I'm going to take my left needle and I'm going to go from the front to the back, and I'm going to scoop up that strand. Then I'm going to take my right needle and I'm going to scoop it around to the back. I have found that that's the easiest way to do this. Sometimes it's hard to get into the back. Sometimes it's easier for me to scoop around the front and go to the back. And then I'm going to wrap my yarn and pull it through to do the make 1. I'm doing this continental style. The next one I will do English style for you, so you can see that. So I was told to make 1, knit 1 6 times. Knit 1, make 1 6 times. So that's my first time. So I'm going to knit 1, and I am going to make 1. So I'm going to change to English style here to not confuse you. This is my strand between the two stitches. I'm going to scoop it from front to back, and then I'm going to slide my needle over to the back, wrap my yarn, and pull it through. So that's knit one, make one, knit one, make one, and I've done that 2 times. I need to do that 4 more times. So knit one, and then this will be make one. Left needle from the front to the back, scoop over, and pull through. Whoops, and pull through. Now the reason I am knitting this through the back loop, is what that's called, is to twist that make one. If I don't twist that stitch, I'm going to end up with a hole, and I don't want a hole there. So this is knit one, make one. I've done it 3 times. I need to do it 3 more times. So knit one, and then make one. I will reach into the front. I put that strand on my left needle. If I were to knit this through the front, I would get a hole. That's like a yarn over. So I'm actually going to knit it through the back, and that's going to twist this stitch for me and close up that hole. So that's 4 times. This is 5 times. Excuse me. And this is 6 times. There we go. Okay, so that was knit one, make one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And then my instructions say knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this brings me to 1 stitch before the marked stitch. And the next instruction says decrease. So we are going to do the same kind of decrease we have been doing all the time. This is a double decrease. It's slip 2 together, knit 1, pass slip stitch over. So slip 2 together, knit 1, and then we reach our left needle over into the 2 stitches that we slipped. We're going to pass them over, and then we are going to move our marker. Now one thing about this, excuse me, that you might notice is I talked in the previous video about how I purled on the wrong side to make this stitch prominent. If you decided to do that like me, then it's starting to be easier to see what your right side and your wrong side looks like, because this is your right side with the embellished stitch. On the back, it's not there. So that makes it easier. It also makes it easier to see where your marked stitch is, because the marked stitch is always going to be this prominent ridge. Okay. So my next instruction says knit 28. So I am going to pause for a moment, and I will work up to the next decrease that I'm going to do. I'll work those 28 stitches. So I will be back in a minute. Hello, I'm back. So I worked 28 stitches, and my instructions now say that I'm supposed to decrease again. So I will do that. I'm going to, and when I'm coming up to the decrease, you'll notice that there is 1 stitch and then my marked stitch. And these 2 stitches are the ones that I am slipping. So I'm going to slip these 2 as if to knit. I'm going to knit the next stitch, and then I am going to pass those 2 slipped stitches over, and that decreases by 2. So every row you're doing now, you're actually decreasing in total 4 stitches. 1 over here, 2 over here, and 2 here. So I'm going to move my marker again, and I will mark this stitch by going around the stitch on the needle like that and closing it up. That's my marked stitch. So the next instruction says knit 4. Now you'll see this is symmetrical because the last time we did a bunch of increases and then knit 4, and so on this side we're going to knit 4 and do a bunch of increases. So it's actually a mirror image, symmetrical around that middle marker that we placed. Okay, so that's the knit 4, and now I am supposed to make 1, knit 1 6 times. Now before it was knit 1, make 1. The reason it's make 1, knit 1 now is because we want to end with a knit on the end. We can't do a make 1 at the end. So we're going to make 1, knit 1 6 times. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do a make 1, M1L, a make 1 left again. It's easy to do, frankly, on a garter stitch piece. It's difficult to see the difference between a make 1 L and a make 1 R, which is make 1 right. That'll come later when we're doing increases on the back of the sweater. But for right now, just for ease, we're going to go ahead and continue to do a make 1 L here. So this is my strand between my 2 stitches. I'm going to insert from front to back, and then I'm going to knit through the back loop, but to make it easier for me, I kind of scoop my right needle over and bring it to the back, wrap, and pull through. So that's make 1, and this is knit 1. And I can show you how to do that continental stitch again for any of you continental knitters. So I'm going to make 1, and so I'm going to bring my needle, my left needle from the front to the back. I'm going to scoop my needle around so it comes through the back of the stitch. I'm going to wrap and pull through. So that's make 1, and here's a knit 1. And then I'm going to do a make 1, and I'm going to do a knit 1, and I'll go back to English for you. I'm going to do a make 1, and a knit 1, and this is 5, a make 1, and a knit 1, and then the final one, this is 6, I'm going to do a make 1. There you go, and a knit 1. So now I have made increases for the sleeves. So the last time I did this section, the last time it was knit 11, but I've done a bunch of increases here. So when I work, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I started with 11 and now I have 16. Now you would think we did 6 decreases. So if I started with, or 6 increases, if I started with 11, I should have 17. The reason it's only 16 is because we did the decrease here. So it's only 16 stitches. So we now have 16 stitches here. We're going to have can't tell you exactly how many. It's around 62 and then 16 here. We'll go ahead and count them. Okay, these are our decreases. These are our marked stitches. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We have 28 here now. That's on my version with the bulky yarn and my pattern. Your numbers are going to be different again. So we're going to go ahead and continue. And when I turn this over, I'm going to go ahead and work the back, all knit stitches again, except I want to do my 2 marked stitches as purl stitches to make them prominent. I'm going to work across the back, and then when I come around again, I'm going to actually continue working that kind of decrease pattern for quite a while. I'm going to knit a certain amount of stitches, do a decrease, knit the middle stitches, do a decrease, knit the end stitches. Excuse me. And I'm going to do that until I get to a part where I am going to knit a few rows, the same amount. I will do that before I come to the next video with you. So you're going to get to a part where, like for mine, for 3 rows it says knit 38. Yours might say knit 62 or some number like that, but 3 rows are going to be the same without any increases or decreases. Once we finish those, then we're going to be moving into the section where we're going to start to do increases. And those are going to be paired increases, and they're going to be make one R and make one L, and that will be what's covered in the next video. So right now, just keep going with your decrease rows until you get to those few rows where you're doing the same stitch count, no increases or decreases. Then come back to the next video and we will talk about how to do increases. So thank you for listening today. Look for my next video. Bye-bye.